Kia ora, and welcome to this IT training tutorial video on formatting your EndNote citations and adding your bibliography to the end of your thesis. Now, hopefully you've been keeping your citations unformatted throughout the entire thesis writing process. So on the EndNote 17 tab, you'd see that instant formatting is off, and anywhere in your document that you see that you have citations, they are completely unformatted. You see curly brackets, author, year, and reference number, but that's it. So you leave them that way. If you needed to show a bibliography to someone earlier, you made a copy of the document and there's where you formatted it, but you wouldn't have done it in your original. So before we go any further, I also find that right now it is good to have your EndNote library open and just kind of in the background out of the way so that we make sure that it does know which one to connect to. And now I'm going to go to that EndNote 17 tab, and I'm going to just go to Update Citations and Bibliography. Now before I do that, just going to point out to you, I've created a section at the very end for references, and that's where it will try to put your references, is at the very end of your document. So if you're already ready for that, I will have appendices that come in afterward, but I won't put those in first or my bibliography will try to go at the very end. So now I'll update the citations and bibliography. Okay, so here's my bibliography. Now mine's not quite right, so I'm just going to show you how you can change it. So changing the format of that bibliography. What I mean by that is I'd like some space in between these, and I'd like them to be spaced inside as well to match what I've done in my document. So to do this, I'll go to that bibliography group, and in the bottom right corner, this is where I can open this up, change the style if I need to, but also go to the layout and change the layout there. So in here, I'm going to change my line spacing inside of the references to 1.5 lines, and I'll put a space after. So I'll just call that single and click OK. And now that looks more like the rest of my document. Now you might want to just take a moment here to have a look and make sure that everything looks correct. There can be some mistakes that you find, and you might not really see them until this stage. So if I have a look through and I see anything that doesn't look quite right, it's easy enough to do. I'd go back to my EndNote library, and in here I'll see that there is a spot where I can see my final thesis citation. So this is everything that got put into that thesis document. Now one of the things I know is a problem is that sometimes the DOI includes those letters and then my style adds that to the front as well. So all I'd have to do is go in here, fix those, and I'll fix this one as well. And then I'll go back into my document. So if there's anything that needs updating, I'll go back to my document and I'll just update the citations and bibliography again, and that will fix any of those mistakes that might have been there inside of my bibliography. So that's all done, and I'll just go ahead and save my document. Now the only other thing is that now that I've got those references at the very, very end of my entire thesis, now would be the time, if I get to the very end, to put in one last page break and then to insert, if you do have appendices, to put those in as well. So they just have to go in after you have put in your references. And you may also find that you've got the need to put in an update for your captions. If those are not correct, then we would go through here and we would do what we did before, select caption and select them all, and then just right click and update those so that their numbers are correct. So if that's something that you need to do. But I've just made sure that my library was complete, my bibliography was complete before I put that appendices document at the very end. Okay, that's it. Thanks for your attention. Kia ora.